state your name for the record?
Thank you. Can you spell your first and your last name for the
Absolutely.
record?
Yes. Sorry, what?
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
My witness, Your Honor.
Yes.
And
Okay.
you good? Can you, sir, where are you currently employed?
Oakland County Sheriff's Office,
How long have you been in the Sheriff's Office?
20 years.
And prior to your appointment with the Sheriff's Office, do you have any other law enforcement experience? Okay. And where are you currently assigned?
Out here in Rochester Hills Substation.
Okay. How long have you been assigned to the substation?
Off and on about, I'd say about 12 years or so.
I want to direct attention to the morning of October 11th of this year. Do you recall that day?
Yes.
Okay. On that particular day, were you did you receive a dispatch to 3730 Newcastle?
I did.
Okay. What was that nature of that dispatch?
I was dispatched to a robbery at this location on that day.
And when you first received that dispatch, where were you at?
I was in the area at the time when the call came out.
Right. When that call came out, did you go to that location?
I did.
But how long did it take you to arrive to that location after receiving that dispatch?
Less than 5 minutes.
Okay. And the information in that dispatch, what was the nature of that information that you had?
They said a lady called indicating that she was the house was robbed, and she was duct taped around her wrists, and her husband was in the house, she believed at the time, regarding this incident.
And on that morning of the 11th, were you wearing the same Oakland County Sheriff's Department uniform that you had on?
Yes.
Okay. And when you arrived to that location, you recall about what time of day that was?
I was during the day, so probably late afternoon, I believe.
And
late morning, I can't remember.
do you recall what shift you were working that day?
Days.
Right.
Day
When,
shift.
when does the day shift start and when does that end?
7 a.m., 3 p.m.
Okay. And so do you recall if it was earlier in your day shift or later?
It was later in the day shift. I say after, I believe it was after 12:30 maybe.
And when you arrived to the location, had you ever been at a location before?
No.
Okay. When you arrived there, did you arrive there by yourself or did you have a partner with you?
No, I was the first one there. I was by myself.
When you arrived, where did you park?
I parked, I believe, a house down from
And-
the actual home.
And so parking house down from that home, what did you do next upon parking? What did you do next after parking?
I walked up to the house, knocked on the door, rang the doorbell, I believe. No answer. Then I started to walk towards the back to see if I could see anything. But I then called the dispatch to have the person they were talking to come to the front door.
So they were still on the phone with that person?
Correct.
Okay. Did someone come to the door?
Yes,
Okay. And did that person open up the door for you?
she did.
What, if anything, did you observe about that person when you opened up the door? Or when she opened up the door?
Her wrist was still duct taped, and she had a bruise under, I can't remember which eye. She had a bruise, and I saw a little blood, and she was very upset.
And was she still on the phone when she came?
She was.
Okay. What happened next?
At that point, she told me that some DTE workers came last night, and they came back today, and then she said they got robbed. Well, she said she got robbed, and she said she believes her husband's still in the house, but she's not certain, and that they already left, and she was still talking to my dispatcher with the phone. So I said, "You can get off now." And then I cut the duct tape off of her wrist, and then we stood by the foyer area of the home to wait for the rest of my partners to arrive so we can clear the house and see what else is going on.
Okay. And did more deputies arrive?
They did.
Okay. About how long after you were, after you cut the duct tape off her wrist, did they arrive on scene?
That was a quick response. I think the second officer showed up minutes after.
And upon the other deputies arriving to the scene that day, what happened next?
Once we removed her from the home, we began to clear the first level of the home.
When you say clear the home, what does that mean?
Checking the area to make sure everything's secure, everything's safe at that point. And we're still trying to find the husband because she indicated, again, she didn't know if he was taken by them or still in the house. She believed that he was in the basement because that's where he was last at when she last saw him with the two guys that were in the home.
Okay. When you guys were clearing the house, what portion of the house were you charged with clearing?
Well, the way it normally works is, depending on how many bodies you have, depending on how many officers you have, determines how you're going to go about clearing in terms of how many go into a room, how many are going to clear the certain area in the first level, because it was colonial. So we're dealing with the first level, second level, and the basement. So we started with the first level. We cleared that area, and then when my partner showed up, we then went downstairs.
And who's your partner that you're speaking of?
It was Sergeant Myers, Deputy Stenai, Deputy Scruggs, Deputy Kavlik. I want to say one more, but I can't remember.
And so it's based on how many deputies are on scene.
Yes.
How the clearing goes.
Yes.
Okay. And did you go to the upper level?
We did.
Okay. And did you eventually make your way to the basement?
We did the first level first and went to the basement next.
So the basement was cleared second.
Correct.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you observe on your way to the basement?
So before we even went down to the basement, because we cleared the first level, and then I stood by the entrance to the basement, and I observed blood being on the wall and the handrail before we even went downstairs.
So you saw blood on the wall and the handrail before heading to the basement?
Correct.
Okay. And do you make your way to the basement?
Yes.
Okay. What, if anything, did you observe while you were down in the basement?
So once we went downstairs to clear the basement, one of my partners observed the person laying on the ground in like a laundry area, utility room area.
And did you observe this person as well?
I did.
Okay. And what did you observe of this person?
I observed a male being duct taped around the wrist, around his ankles, and around his mouth. I thought it was duct tape around his nose, but it wasn't. And a lot of blood.
You know, there was a lot of blood in the area?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Did you notice, were you able to determine if he had a pulse?
I checked both his wrist and his neck, and I couldn't tell at the time. I don't think I had a pulse with that.
Did you observe anything on him? Did you observe a gun or anything on him?
There was an empty gun holster around his waist. I was looking for that and a shell casing possibly, because I didn't know the nature at the time.
Did you observe any shell casing or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Upon locating that person and checking for a pulse, what did you do next in your investigation?
After that, the Rochester Hills Fire Department came down and tried to render aid too. After I looked at him. Then we went upstairs. I'm sorry, before that we went upstairs to clear the second floor. After that.
Did you observe anything regarding your investigation upstairs when you cleared it?
No, nothing up there. Rooms were disheveled. Other than that, nothing stood out.
Okay. I have no further questions, John.
Positive.
Good morning.
Hello.
So you just testified about your involvement in being the first officer. Did your involvement in this case end on that day? Other than obviously appearing here to testify.
After that, I wrote a report about it. Other than that, I didn't have no other involvement at that time.
Okay. So you've never had any interview or any interactions with Mr. Carlos Hernandez, is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. Positive.
I have no questions for this.
Thank you. Anything else?
No redirect based on that question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.